Dear students, welcome to our YouTube channel Vidya for Success. In this video, let us continue our study on the morphology of flowering plants. Yes, children, in our last video, we have discussed about different conditions of androecium. So in today's class, we are going to study about the conditions of gynoecium. So first of all, what do you mean by gynoecium? So gynoecium is a female reproductive unit of a flower. So if we take a flower, in that flower there is a female reproductive unit will be present. That female reproductive unit is called as gynoecium. So each of the gynoecium made out of a number of units. So how we studied the androecium made out of number of unit called stamens. In the similar way, the gynoecium in the flower is also made up of number of units called as carpels. Clear? So there are many carpels. They are going to form a gynoecium in the flower. Each of the carpel in the flower consists of three main parts. So there are three main parts are present in the carpel. So the basal part of the carpel is called as ovary, and ovary is connected with the long tube like structure that is called as style, and style ends with a swollen part that is called as stigma, right? So these are the three different parts of carpel. So stigma is usually the tip of the style, and style is an elongated tube like structure, and it connects with this swollen base that is called as ovary. And ovary is the main part where some of the structures are present in order to form eggs. So eggs are the female gametes, right? And what is that structure lead to the formation of female gamete? So within the ovary is a swollen basal part, right? So within the ovary there are number of structures are present. Those structures are called as ovule. Clear? So ovule is nothing but megasporangium, right? So in the megasporangium there is a formation of egg takes place. So that we have already discussed in the life cycle of angiosperms, right? So within the ovary there are some nutritive tissues are present. Towards the tissues all the ovules are get attached. So now let us see the proper structure of the carpel. So this is the carpel. So base of the carpel is called as ovary, and elongated tube like structure what we can see in the diagram, that is nothing but the style, and style ends with a swollen structure, that means it acts as a receptacle, so that is nothing but stigma. Clear? So within the ovary there is a specific structure will be present. So that specific structure is nothing but a placenta. So placenta is called as a nutritive tissue. So to this nutritive tissue all the ovules are get attached. Clear? So ovary bears one or more ovules. So the number of ovules is not same in all the flower. So in some it may be 1, or in some it may be 4, in some 5. So like this the number of ovule varies depending on the type of species, right? So the number of ovules are present within the ovary, and they are attached to the cushion like structure called as placenta. So placenta is actually the cushion like structure to which one or more ovules are get attached in the ovary. So this is very important. That means where actually the placenta is present in the ovary, that will define the different types of placentation. So now let us study one of the important concept of the gynoecium, that is the conditions of gynoecium. So one such condition of gynoecium we can see is apocarpus. What do you mean by apocarpus? So this is one condition of gynoecium. In this case, the flower will be consist of more than one carpels, right? So carpels are nothing but what? They are the units of gynoecium, right? So when the flower consists of more than one carpels and they are present freely in the flower, such a condition is called as apocarpus. Right? And the flower is called as apocarpus flower. So I will repeat once again, apocarpus is one of the condition of gynoecium. So when we are calling the flower as a apocarpus, so that flower should be consist of more than one carpels, and all the carpels should be present freely in the flower. Say for example, 3 carpels are present in the flower means all the 3 carpels they are present free. That means there is no connection between the carpels of a flower. So all the carpels they are present freely in the flower. So such a condition of the gynoecium is called as apocarpus. Apocarpus is nothing but free carpels, right? So they are not fused. They are not fused together. Clear? So the free carpels in the flower is represented by one of the terminology that is called as apocarpus. Then the apocarpus condition can be seen in the lotus flower and in the rose flower. So in the lotus and rose flower, the carpels are present, more than one carpels are present, and they are present very freely. Then the one more condition of gynoecium is syncarpus. What do you mean by syncarpus? So ovary is said to be syncarpus when more than one carpels are present and they are fused. Syn is nothing but fused, right? So when the carpels are fused in the flower, such a condition of gynoecium is called as syncarpus. Understood? So this can be seen in the mustard plant and in the tomato plant. In the mustard and tomato flower, we can see the syncarpus ovary. What do you mean by syncarpus ovary? So in this case, the more than one carpels are present. So the carpels are fused with one another. So in the tomato, we can take the best example of tomato. So we all have seen the tomato fruit, right? So if we cut the tomato, we can see the 2 chambers, because the tomato is the resultant product of fertilization. So after the fertilization, the ovary, what is a part of female reproductive unit, that is get converted into fruit, and ovule will get converted into seed, right? So if we cut the tomato, we can see 2 chambers in it. So those 2 chambers represent the number of carpels. So there are 2 carpels are present and they are fused in case of tomato, right? So this is about the 2 main conditions of gynoecium. So if the carpels are free, such kind of ovary is called as apocarpus ovary, and the condition of gynoecium is called as apocarpus. And when the carpels are fused in the flower, such a kind of carpel is called as syncarpus. Is the one more concept we are going to study is placentation. What do you mean by placentation? So placentation is nothing but the arrangement of ovules within the ovary is called as placentation. So we can tell the placentation of the ovary based on the position of placenta, right? So what do you mean by placenta? Placenta is a nutritive tissue present in the ovary, right? So in some of the flowers, the placenta position in the ovary is exactly at the center. In some of the ovaries, the placenta will be present at the margin. So like this, based on the position of placenta, we can judge the arrangement of ovules, right? So the placentation is nothing but the arrangement of ovules within the ovary. So that concept is called as placentation. So there are 5 different types of placentation can be seen in the plants. One is marginal placentation, and second one is axial placentation. Third one is parietal placentation. Fourth one is free central placentation, and the last one is basal placentation. So you have to remember one thing, that only based on the position of placenta we are going to tell the placentation of the flower, right? So how many types are there in the placentation? There are 5 types are there in the placentation: marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation, and basal placentation. So in order to study the placentation, first we have to take the cross section of the ovary. So ovary is the basal swollen part, right? So if we take the cross section of the ovary, we can clearly observe the actual position of placenta and the number of ovules attached to it. Clear? So let us study the first type of placentation, that is marginal placentation. So what is the position of placenta in the marginal placentation? What kind of placentation is called as a marginal placentation? So in the marginal placentation, the actual position of the placenta is along the ventral suture of the ovary. So along the ventral suture of the ovary, the placenta forms a ridge, right? So the number of ovules are born on the ridge, forming 2 rows. So this kind of placentation can be seen in the pea plant. So in the pea plant, the ovary shows the marginal placentation. You can observe in the diagram. So this is the fruit of the pea flower. So in the fruit we can see the seeds are attached to the marginal region. That means at the marginal position, that means along the ventral suture of the ovary, the seeds are get attached, right? So you might have get confused because we are taken the fruit in order to study the placentation, right? So fruit is nothing but it is the product of fertilization. Right, after fertilization, ovary is get converted into fruit, ovules are get converted into seed. So if we look into the fruit, we can study the condition of ovary in the flower, right? So in the pea fruit, you can see the seeds are attached to the ventral suture, because the placenta is actually forming the ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. So the number of ovules are born on the ridge by forming 2 rows. Clear? If we open the pea fruit, we can see the seeds, they are arranged in 2 rows. So the ventral suture is the actual position of placenta. So placenta is actually forming the ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. So because the position of placenta is towards the margin, the placentation is named as marginal placentation. So the best example is P. Dear students, welcome to our YouTube channel Vidya for Success. In this video, let us continue our study on the morphology of flowering plants. Is the third type of placentation is parietal placentation. What do you mean by parietal? So parietal is nothing but peripheral region. That means towards the wall of ovary, the placenta is located. Clear? So when the placenta is located towards the wall of the ovary, ovules are get attached to the peripheral placenta. Right? So how can we define the parietal placentation? So in case of parietal placentation, ovules develops on the inner wall of ovary. Inner wall is nothing but what? Peripheral part, right? So the ovary consists of outer wall and the placenta forming the inner wall of ovary. So to the inner wall of ovary, ovules are get attached. Clear? So because of the formation of false septa or false wall, the ovary become two chambered. Clear? So ovary already consists of the outermost wall and the placenta is forming the one more wall. That wall is called as pseudo wall, false wall. So when the placenta forms the false wall, ovary becomes two chambered. So there is a two chambered ovary can be seen in the parietal placentation because the chamber is formed by the false wall formation. So who forms the false wall here? That is placenta, right? So placenta, because it is located towards the peripheral region, it forms the false wall in the ovary. So this will creates the two chambers in the ovary. So the ovules develops on the inner wall of the ovary. So what is inner wall here? That is the placenta, right? So all the ovules are born on the inner wall of ovary or the peripheral part. That part is also called as a peripheral part. So the best example is the mustard plant. So in the mustard plant, the kind of placentation can be seen in the ovary is parietal placentation. You can have a look into the diagram. So in the diagram you can notice the false wall. Clear? So this false wall creates a two chambers in the ovary, right? So the ovules are attached to the inner wall formed by the placenta. So that inner wall is called as false wall, right? So this kind of placentation is called as parietal placentation. Then the fourth type of placentation is free central placentation. So how can we define the free central placentation? What is the position of placenta in this case? So in the free central placentation, the position of placenta is towards the center of ovary. So in axial placentation, we have seen the same thing, right? But there is a one difference between the free central placentation and axial placentation. So even though the position of placenta is central in the free central placentation, the ovary does not consist of many locules because there is no cross walls in the ovary in order to form the number of chambers. So in case of free central placentation, the position of the placenta is axial position, right? And the septa are absent. So the ovary is unilocular ovary. But we have seen in the axial placentation that position of the placenta is central position, but the ovary is multilocular. So who actually formed the multilocular this thing ovary? Septa, right? Cross walls were present in the axial placentation in order to form multilocular ovary. But in case of free central placentation, there is no septa, cross walls in order to form number of locules. So the condition of ovary is unilocular and the position of placenta in this case is central position. Right. So when the ovules are born on the central axile and septa are absent, such a type of placentation is called as free central placentation. So the best example of plant where we can see the free central placentation is dianthus and primrose. So in the primrose and dianthus plant, we can see the free central placentation in the ovary. So just observe the diagram. So in the diagram, they have given the cross section of ovary, and actual position of placenta is towards the center. And to the central placenta, number of ovules are attached, and you can observe ovary does not consist of chambers, right? So there is no locules, multilocular condition we can see here because the septa absent. Clear? So this kind of placentation is named as free central placentation. Then the last type is basal placentation. What do you mean by basal placentation? So in the name itself you can understand the position of placenta. Basal is nothing but base of the ovary, right? So in this case the placenta develops at the base of ovary. So if we take the cross section of ovary, we can see the placenta position properly in this case, right? Because the placenta is located at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to it. So the number of ovule in this case is only one ovule. So that too attached to the basal placenta. So because of this, the placentation is called as basal placentation. So in all other four we have seen that there is no single ovule, so many ovules were get attached to the placenta, but in the basal placentation only one ovule is attached to the basal placenta. Position of placenta is base. Clear? So this kind of placentation is named as basal placentation. You can have a look into the diagram. So this is the cross section of ovary where we can see the basal placentation. So just you observe the position of placenta that is located towards the base, and to the basal placenta only one ovule is get attached, right? So this kind of placentation can be seen in sunflower as well as in marigold flower. So in the sunflower plant the flowers are showing basal placentation, and in the marigold flower also we can see the basal placentation. So this is about the types of placentation, right? So children, this concept is very important, 5 marks concept for the point of examination. So you have to learn about placentation definition and the types of placentation, right? So you should learn how to explain each type of the placentation with example. Understood, right? So I'll repeat once again. So the placentation is the arrangement of ovules within the ovary, right? So placentation can be tell in the flower based on the position of the placenta in the ovary. So based on where actually the placenta is located, we can tell the placentation. So there are 4 types of placentation can be 5 types of placentation can be seen in the flowers, different flowers of angiosperms. So the one type is marginal placentation, and the another one is axial placentation, then the third one is parietal, fourth one is free central placentation, and the last one is basal placentation. So what do you mean by marginal placentation? So in case of marginal placentation, the placenta is located towards the ventral suture of the ovary by forming ridge, and to the ventral suture of the ovary all the seeds are get attached in 2 rows. So such a condition is called as marginal placentation. So example is P, right? Axial placentation. So what do you mean by axial placentation? In case of axial placentation, the position of the placenta in the ovary is central position, and the ovules are attached to the multilocular ovary. So the best example we can give for the this one axial placentation is tomato, and we can also give China rose. And in case of parietal placentation, the ovules are attached to the inner wall of ovary. So that inner wall of the ovary is formed by the pseudo wall. Clear? So the best example is mustard. And the fourth one is free central placentation. So in case of free central placentation, placenta position is center and the ovary does not consist of locules, right? And the last one is basal placentation. In this case, placenta position is base of the ovary and only single ovule is attached. Clear? So this is about the placentation. Thank you.